Market moving up, still moving up. SPY now back up above the 50-day moving average, still inside of Friday's candle. Triple Q's right at the 8 and 15 resistance on IWM, moving up toward the 100-day moving average. So I want to see where the market goes. We're getting a little bit of bullishness right now. Looking at the T2104 today, kind of bearish actually. Choppy, but slightly bearish. Again, I'm not taking any of these SPY super system trades here. Too much resistance above. There's too much of a crapshoot at these things right now. Again, I had one nice winner this morning and one loser, so I'm just kind of biding my time here. Again, the VRNA that Ari pointed out is a nice one, but the options are very expensive. Debit spread's probably the best way to go. I don't like going all the way out to January for debit spreads, but you have to on this one since it only has monthly expirations. But it's a nice setup, but the option prices are way too, they're about $1 wide, which is a really wide on a stock like this. So again, I think a 45.50 call debit spread, if you like it, would probably be the, if you can get it for about $1.70, that's $1.70 with a likelihood, with the ability to go all the way up to $5. That's pretty good. Yomi, what would I suggest for an exit on the NVO strangle? I got a sell order in. I paid $223 for it. I have a sell order in at $273 on NVO. Yeah, this is good till Friday, so we just need to move sometime during the week. But if I can get 50 cents for it today, I'll take it. If I don't get filled, I'll look at it again tomorrow morning to see if I want to make an adjustment to it or not. Not really want to run into any rush into any trades here right now. Again, I look at this QRVO. I'm waiting to see if it's pulled back pretty hard here to see if it's way back below the VWAP. Palantir starting to bounce again today. Palantir is a really nice long setup for some longer term calls. Has earnings on set 3rd of February. I kind of like this, to tell you the truth, to go out as into late January on this Palantir. It's the one I would consider taking here today. A couple of reasons for that. It's setting up a doji sandwich setup here right now. Big green candle, doji. Really nice, really beautiful setup on Palantir. And I'm probably going to take this. I'm just going to look at the premiums on it. probably going to go all the way out to January 31st on it. It's trading at $80.67. So I'm going to be looking at the $74 calls. So I'm taking Palantir. That's probably the only one I consider taking now until after the holidays. January 31st. $74 calls. They're about $10.95 right now. So $10.95 to about $11. Okay. Palantir. I like it. I'm gonna give it some time, see where it goes. Okay, so I sent that out on an alert. I'm in Palantir. And this will be a swing trade. Burner right here. QRVO, not doing much of anything. NVO again, I'm in a straddle in this thing. So I'm just going to sit back and watch now as the SPY moves up. See where it does here this afternoon. It's moved up through the 50-day moving average. Here's a daily chart of the SPY, just so we have a perspective on it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Big run up on Friday. This morning we moved, opened here, pulled all the way down to almost the middle of Friday's candle. Now we bounced back up against above the 50-day, which is the red line right here. The next one is the 8 right there. That's the 8 exponential moving average, just right near the top of Friday's candle. This is likely to be some resistance. This is likely to be some resistance. If we look at the triple Qs, it looks very similar. Triple Qs have been stronger than the SPY, but because they're above the 50, but they're running right up against the 8 and the 15. The 8's the red line, the 15 EMA is the orange line here. I use these in tandem, and again, it's right up against it right now. And the IWM, which has been below the 100, ran up through the 100 on Friday, pulled back below it. It's coming right up to it again today. So a lot of resistance on these indexes right now. So I'm not jumping into anything. We did take PLTR. Let me show you PLTR in here. Again, PLTR long. This is a beautiful setup here. It's been riding up along the 8, gets extended, comes right back to it again. Popped up through it on Friday. This was a Wednesday candle. Remember how bad that day was? Notice that it held the 15 and then moved up on Thursday, even though Thursday was a red day, and then Friday, big move up in it, and today it's putting in a doji right at the top of the Friday candle. little after 12 o'clock. Nice little bounce in the market here. Again, I took volunteer long. And I do have a straddle INDO for this week. Again, I don't trust this rally any more than I trusted the pullback on a day like today. Holidays weeks are tough. Again, market closes at 2 o'clock tomorrow. There was closed Wednesday, and then next week is again another holiday week. So, going to be very, very selective. We don't have a lot of positions on. Purposely, I don't want to have a lot of positions on. Doing some day trading on the SPY Super System. I did take a nice win on the IWM this morning, and then I took a loss on the IWM after that. So I'm up a bit on it, but not a lot, which is not unexpected today. Welcome to the YouTube folks. Looking in on us? Appreciate it. Looking at the SPY Super System or the Compass system right here tells us if the institutions are buying or selling. Current time frame momentum right here is very critical for our SPY Super System trades that we trade off the VWAP and the 15. Had one winner and one loser on that today, but it's been a very good month for me. I've got about 48 wins and about 6 losses on it right now, maybe 7 losses on it. I'm not exactly sure, but it's been producing very, very nice profits for us for intraday trades. It's not our main source. Most of our trades are short-term swings, either all day long or overnight or out to about 3 weeks. But we do take SPY Super System trades for the SPYs, the Qs, and the IWM based on some specific criteria that we've got for using them, buying them, selling them off the VWAP or off the 15 EMA right here, this little green line. It's been very, very successful strategy for me. I mean, I let you know when I see them setting up. Everybody has to trade them on their own. It's not something I can alert on, but it is something we use inside the room. Let's see, can I explain what happened to the 210 FI calls? Yeah, the Fiserv calls. This is the Fiserv chart, and we talked about this quite often when this happened. What happened was the CEO was tapped to take over the Social Security Administration, so he'll be leaving the company. So we got a big flush down in FI when that happened. Here it is right here. See this big flush down in FI? That's why it's down here. There wasn't any point in selling it down here after this big thing. We're out to January 17 in this, but notice it held the 50-day moving average. Now it's been kind of chopping around along the 50-day, moving up toward the 15 and the 8. So I'm just staying in it. Now I did add some more. We got a 210, and I added a $200 call down here when it pulled down here for January 17th. But there's no reason in taking this thing off because it's still a bullish setup. It just it was a news event that I think oversold this thing by quite a bit. So that's my opinion. We'll see what happens. If it gets back above the 8 and the 15 again, it could easily run back up here to 215 to 220. So that's where we are on it. Not much you can do about news like that, and then you just have to make a judgment. Q's moving back down again a little bit right now. Yeah, the only thing we took today so far, I did a straddle on NVO expiring this week, and I did got long calls in Palantir. Again, I'm not going to take any more long positions until after the holidays. There's just not likely to be much movement in the market that's sustainable between now and the first of the year. We get Christmas this week, we got New Year's next week. Market closes at 2 o'clock tomorrow, so very short weeks, 2 in a row, and then we'll go into the new year. And then we'll likely get some volatility and likely get some volume coming back in. Q's heading back down again right now. Again, they've got a pivot point down here, a VWAP right here. I'm not trading any of these things right now. I traded the IW1 twice today, once for a win, once for a loss on the SPY Super System, but right now I'm just watching. And NVO, looking for NVO. I got an 87 straddle on this thing. 87 calls, 87 puts expiring this week. And we did take some Palantir. I like QRBO, but right now I'm just kind of watching. It's pulling back. You mean you think they've added another strike for Fiserv? But it doesn't really matter if they did or not. They've got we have the 210s, and I also have a 200. There's a 202.50 and a 205 in there. Yeah, so they might have plopped in some more strikes, but the $2.50 strikes between them now. I think they used to be just $5 strikes distance between the two strikes, but in any case, I don't see any reason to pull off the trade. I mean, it is out of our 210 is out of the money, so it's going to have some time decay. But I still think the setup is worth holding, even with the original position. And again, I did add to it, so I've got some 200s as well. 200s that I paid. Forget what I paid. I think I paid $8.10 for those, for the 200s. When I bought them, they're going for about $9.10 right now. Nice little move of this IWM right back up to the pivot point, right off the pivot point, back down again. Very choppy here. Anybody in YouTube have any questions, go ahead and just put them into the chat box and I'll be happy to answer them. Pretty slow day for trading. I'm not doing much at all today. I did take Palantir and I took a straddle at NVO. That's it. A couple of SPY super system trades in IWM, one winner, one loser. Just not a great day to be trying to trade these things. Because the indexes are much too close to resistance right now on the daily chart. Now the straddle we put on, it was to put a strangle on, a straddle on NVO. These are non-directional trades. We don't care which way the stock goes. We just want it to make a big move one way or the other between now and Friday. We don't care which way it goes. These are the cascading up. These show you stocks with relative strength. These show you stocks with relative weakness for today on the 5-minute chart. Oracle coming down. Square not so much. Then you have to look at the daily chart before you do any trades on them. You want to make sure, if you like something short, make sure the daily chart is weak. FedEx coming in pretty hard here today. This thing is really, the daily chart is just a mess on this thing. I had a big move up on earnings on Friday, then pulled back hard, and again it's continuing on down today. This is a pretty ugly chart after that big move on the earnings right here. Here's UPS. I mean, here's FedEx right here. See that big earnings pop and then right pull back, and then today continuing down. It's got room down here to 259.80 on FedEx. UPS probably is following suit, and not so much. It's holding that support line right there. FedEx is weak, very weak, very weak. 5-minute chart right here, very weak, drifting down. FedEx showing some really good weakness here. Right, so I'm just kind of watching here. Again, I'm not trading any SPY super system trades right now. I took two, one an IWM short, and two shorts, one worked, one didn't. So I'm basically, the way I structured them, I'm basically pretty flat. I think I'm up about 5 cents. So not much. Q's moving sideways, SPY's moving sideways, IWM moving sideways to down a little bit. So not trading any of that. Again, I did take Palantir long. I'm watching QRVO, but I'm going to watch most of these just through the holidays and see what they look like for potential setups later on. Again, FedEx is a decent intraday short trade if you want to trade a stock short for the day. FedEx looks pretty good. I mean, if you look at the candlesticks on it today, been pretty weak. Gap down, and it's been below the VWAP all day long, and now it's falling below the 15 as well. Everything's sloping down. It's a nice short setup. Just kind of ride the momentum on it for the day. And you know, if you want to hold it overnight, you will be able to. Jonathan, if I could go back in time and speak to the version of myself when you very first started trading, what is the number one thing you would tell them in terms of becoming a successful trader? That's pretty hard. It's been quite a long time. I think because you have to learn so much along the way. I mean, when I started out, I didn't know much about anything. It took me a long time to learn technical analysis. It took me a long time how to understand doing options and spreads, etc. I think the one thing I would say is not to risk much money at all. Start with paper trading, or I don't really like paper trading, but in this case it's probably okay. But I don't like paper trading. But if you're going to trade, just trade like one share of stock, 2 shares of stock, or one option, one call contract, or one put contract, and learn the different strategies. You want to get good at reading price action, but that is very hard to teach. It takes a long time to learn price action. But I think the biggest mistake people make is being emotional in their trading, and also way over trading, thinking that you have to have trades on all the time. I used to take way more trades than I do now when I first started, and I'd have winners, but I'd have losers, but it hurts your consistency. So I would recommend that you make sure you, if anything, take fewer trades than you would normally want to take, as opposed to more. Take very few trades. Make sure you know where your support and resistance levels are on all the trades you take. It's really important when you get into a trade. I guess the first thing I would say is, when you take a trade, most people, when they take a trade, the first thing they think about is how much money I can make on the trade. That's what they're looking at. How much money can I make? Don't do that. The first thing you want to look at is how much can I lose on this trade? What's my risk? Like when I take an option trade, I'm assuming that I can go to zero. So that's my risk on the trade. It usually doesn't go all the way to zero. Sometimes it does, but that's my risk on the trade. You've got to keep that in perspective, because what happens is when you start thinking about how much money you can make, you're operating from a mindset of greed, and not a mindset of what would be considered. I guess it would be more of patience, of patience and discipline, because discipline and patience are the two most important criteria, I think, for becoming a consistently profitable trader. The other thing I would recommend is try to spend time learning about the charts that you look at. Read the charts for in context. How's this stock been trading over a period of months? What's the chart look like? Is it a nice chart to take or not? Is it a choppy chart? If it's a choppy chart, it's going to be less predictable than a nice consistent chart. So try to get good at reading those charts, and also always keep the market in mind. What's the market doing today? What's the market doing this week? Is it bullish today? Is it bearish today? Is it choppy today? Don't try to trade against it. If the market's choppy, keep your size smaller. If the market's trending, then you can go with larger size. But I mean, there's so many elements, and I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from anybody was to, first of all, to not to trade my P&L. Don't be looking at your P&L ever. Trade off your technical levels, and treat it like it's a video game. You're trading against other retail traders. You just want to be better than them and beat them. And if you're trading off your P&L, you're going to get out of trades when you shouldn't, and stay in trades when you shouldn't. It's human nature. If you're watching your P&L, you're immediately introducing emotion into your trading. So don't look at your P&L. It's really important. And if you start losing a bunch of money, you can't be consistently profitable. Then you've got to you've got to pare back a lot, and either go with paper trading or just one contract, like I said. But don't trade heavily. The problem is, a lot of traders, when they get behind, they try to catch up, and again, that's a terrible mindset to be in. They'll increase their size, they'll take more trades trying to make up for the loss that they've got, and it's a killer. That's about the best I can tell you. I mean, I'd have to think about it because I made about just about every mistake anybody could make while trading. KD, do I use the VWAP 15 EMA for your stop on the SPY Super System trades, or is it more context based? No, I use that's what I use for my stop on it. If I'm doing the SPY Super System trades, those are quick trades. I'm not going to be holding those overnight. So yeah, if I get in, I got to get in near the 15 or near the VWAP. That becomes my stop. It's how much position I put on is going to be more context based. It's going to be based on what the market's doing. If it's trending, I'm going to be able to take larger size. If it's choppy like it is today, I'm going to take smaller size. You know, I vary that based on whether I think there's a higher or lower likelihood that the stock is going to continue, the index is going to continue up or down for multiple candles. If I don't think so, then I'm going to just be taking smaller size. So I'm looking at the context of the trading to determine my size, but it's not going to decide my exit. My exit with the SPY Super System, it's critical that you get in right near the VWAP or right near the 15, so that your stop is going to be very close to it. So you're going to take small losses on this. It's really important that you only take small losses, because you're going to get small gains and you're going to get some big gains, but you should never be taking any big losses on it. FedEx heading down. FedEx a good short for an intraday trade here. It was going for, when I looked at it, I looked at the FedEx 270 puts for this week. They were going for about 520. They're going for 570 right now. Still moving down. And you know, if this I would just day trade. If I get in for 520, I'd probably shoot to try to get out for about 620. That would be a pretty nice move for one day or 1 hour. See what we got for questions here. Alexandra, the market wants to put in a doji candle today. Likely. That's why I said a butterfly was probably a decent trade today. Twillo's recovering. I saw that, William. I saw that from last week. I still like Twillo. And I still have Twillo on. And I'm considering adding to it. It's got resistance at 113.01 and then a chance to get to 122.07. So I'm considering adding to the Twillo position as well. It's not one that's posted here, but it's one that I've got on. John, Palantir, why so far in the money and January 31st out so far? All right, let's talk about that for a minute, all right? Let's talk about why we take options in the money. We want intrinsic value in there, all right? Now, if I look at my Palantir that I've got, and I've got the $74 calls, right? It's trading at 80 bucks. But if I go in and look here, let me look at Palantir. All right, so I'm looking at the January 31st calls, the $74 calls. Right, those have a delta of 67, 68. Right, so I'm looking for deltas between 65 and 70, maybe 75. So that fits right in where I want. It's got an intrinsic value of $6.06, and I'm paying whatever I paid for it. Was it $10.95 or something like that? Yeah. So. And so I get about $6 of intrinsic value. So I want quite a bit of intrinsic value. Why do I go out so far in time? I mean, I know it's cheaper to take less in the money. I know that, but you've got less intrinsic value. And if you start getting down into deltas that are fall below that, you've got too much of your premium that you bought. Too much of the money you're paying for that premium is subject to time decay and volatility changes. So you don't want that. You want enough intrinsic value or value in that that's not going to be impacted by the time decay. And I went out to the end of January because I've got 2 weeks here right now where the market might not do anything, and so I need some time on this thing. So I took expiration to the week before earnings. I could have actually gone past earnings, but it would have cost a lot more for the options that I don't expect to be anywhere near that long. But that's why I'm taking those, and I'm pretty clear about that in all of my discussions about you want to be in the money on your calls and puts. And when I look at Palantir, I could have taken a higher delta, a lower delta, like a 66 delta, but that would have cost about $10. So that's why you don't want too much of your premium that you're paying for that subject to time decay, and you want to give the trade time to move. And right now the market is not likely to do an awful lot in the next couple of weeks, so I got to go out well more than 2 weeks, so I go out to the end of January. That's why. Doug, what I consider a big loss on SPY on cents. Well, generally speaking, 40 cents is a pretty big loss on it. Now you can get one of those flush candles, the candles that flush down on it, and then I have to make a decision of whether I'm going to wait to see if it bounces back up or not. Those can be pretty hit hard. You can take like a 70-cent loss on something like that. But typically, most of my loss is going to run in the 20 to 30-cent range. Depends on how close you get into to this VWAP of the 15 EMA and how long you're in the trade. So in other words, how much time decay is there on it. Coming up on 12:45. Gonna eat lunch about 1. So we'll run the YouTube feed till about 1 o'clock or so. I appreciate the folks on YouTube watching me. A lot of them come in here every day. I appreciate that. If you in the YouTube and you want to be in the room, all you have to do is join the room, and you'll be in there all day long. Again, not an awful lot going on today. FedEx is bouncing now, but I still like FedEx short. NVO kind of back up to 87.69 now. So again, my 87 strikes have gone from my 80. I'm in the money now on the call side, as I was in the money in the put side before. So I don't care which way it goes. Palantir just putting in a doji today. Again, this is a doji, what's called the doji sandwich setup on Palantir. You get a big green candle here, which is blue here because I color my candles based on whether the Bollinger Bands are expanding or not, telling me that when I get a blue candle, the stock is moving up on a blue candle, which means there's compression break. And if it's a pink candle right here, that's a compression break to the downside. This is a compression break to the upside. Those tend to be stronger than just candles that are green or red. And so I like this doji sandwich setup right here. A lot of times when you get a doji sandwich, you'll get a continuation the next day. We'll see if we do or not. But I like the entire setup on this. Again, context. We're looking at context. We're looking how this stock is traded. Here's the big pullback on Wednesday. It didn't take that bad a hit on that Fed news on Wednesday. So this is a pretty nice chart. You can see that it's moving up. You see that every time it gets too far extended from the 8, it comes back to it. But it basically respects the 8 all the way along here. And again, I use the 8 and 15 in tandem. The 8 and the 15 I use in tandem. It's gonna if it breaks through the 8, most of the time the 15 will hold. FedEx pouncing. Which shorts did I take on FedEx, AJ? Let me look. I did this week's. I'm not planning on staying in it a long time. Oops. I took the 1227 270s. 270 puts. Paid $5.18 for them. I got a sell order at 620. I don't know if what they're going to do. I'm going to watch them for a bit here. I'd like to see them stay below the 15, but if not, right now I'm basically dead even on them right now. John, yeah, the explanation on the you were asking about the why I took those calls. Yeah, I'm pretty clear about why I take certain uh, expiration dates and certain strike prices. Again, it's going to vary a little bit uh, based on. I got to look at the option change, and I got to try to find the best expiration date and the best strike price that have this that don't have really wide spreads and stuff. So there is some maneuverability in there, but generally speaking, try to find a 65 to 75 delta, and you go out at least, even on a day trade, you should go out a couple weeks. I didn't do that on FedEx today because I'm planning on dumping it today anyway. But typically I should have gone out a little bit further in time on FedEx. I should have gone out till next week. FedEx right after the 15, trying to come back down. IWM went to the pivot point and pulled right back again. Triple Qs. This is really choppy market, and this should not be surprising. Christmas week, we close tomorrow at 2. We're off on Wednesday. Not a lot of interest for a lot of people in the market right now. There is for me, but not a lot of people. So. Gonna take lunch here again in about 3 or 4 minutes. I'll end the YouTube feed at 1 o'clock. And I want to thank the folks from YouTube coming in. I got a little started late today, but thanks for coming in and being in the room. I appreciate the interest in it. And again, we do this each day. Well, we won't be doing it when we're doing it Christmas Day or New Year's Day, but each day for about an hour or so. And again, to get you interested, get you exposed to the methodology we use here. We have our win rate runs 85 to 90% month after month, and we stick to very high probability trade setups. We've got some very strict criteria that we use. This is the compass system or the SPY super system that tells us if the institutions are buying or not, or selling or neutral in any kind of a stock. We use a multi-time frame momentum and the current time frame momentum specifically, and we look at daily charts first for any swing trades we're going to take, and only trade in the direction of the daily chart. So again, very strict criteria that we follow for high probability trade setups, which is why we have such a high win rate. And sometimes we have to sit and watch for a while, but that's what trading is about. There are times when not making a trade is the best trade you can take. All right, so again, I'm going to eat here in just a couple minutes, but thanks again for being here today. We'll shut down the YouTube feed in just a minute. Monty, would a SPY call trade from 10 minutes ago be okay? I mean, theoretically, yes. Okay, I mean, we're blue here, right? So the current time frame momentum is blue. So anything bouncing off the 15, this is technically a SPY super system setup right here. But again, it's about a chop here today. There isn't any, you can't expect a lot of follow through. So if you took the trade here, as it was blue, as it bounced right off of the 15, then if it was me, if I was in the trade, this is all I would have expected. The move to here and out. I wouldn't, as soon as it starts to lose momentum out, this is the kind of trade you're going to get on a day like today. That's not much. I'm not going to call something like that up, but what you just identified here is exactly correct. It's bouncing off the 15, but the current time frame is gone to blue, and you could take it there. And again, if you're in close enough to the 15, and the 15 is sloping up, you know, if it goes back to the 15, you're still going to be up money, but this is where you would take your profits right there. Perfect call out on that one. Again, this is not a good day for taking these trades. Let's be honest here. These are going to be very tiny trades, small wins, small losses, and you know, you burn out a lot of energy doing that kind of stuff. But that was a correct entry. Nice look on that, Monty. All right, I'm going to take some lunch.